This is going to be an instructional video on how to restore especially the 1/18 scale diecast cars that have been through a fire. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a list of tools that you'll need to get through this ordeal, because believe me, it wears on you, especially if you have a whole bunch of these cars. Okay, the restoration stuff you're going to need for disassembly, assembly, cleanup, polishing, etc. You're going to need an assortment of screwdrivers, obviously, Phillips and standards, like these. They're all pretty much the same size underneath, but you never know what you're going to run into or how tight they're going to be. You're going to need paint brushes, as soft a bristle as you can find. This one's kind of stiff for the heavier debris. This is a lot finer for the real fine stuff. And then these big ones, this is a big, like a finish brush, but it's real fine, very, very soft brush that I use for doing the bodies themselves. You're going to need super glue, or in this case, it's a Maxi-Cure from Hobbytown. It's extra thick. Cyanoacrylic. I think I pronounced it right. Anyways, you guys know what it's all about. You'll also need some toothpicks, some Q-tips, some rubbing alcohol, some paper towels, and I use for the bodies for the paint, I use TR3 resin glaze. I get it at the local Napa Auto Parts, but you can use whatever paint polish, whatever that you're comfortable with. It really doesn't matter. This is what I always use. I've had really good results, not only with the paint, but with the clear windshields and the side glass and the back windows, etc., etc. So, with that being said, the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to flip one of these cars over.
Now, you said before the difference between the two cars is what?
The difference between the manufacturers. Some of the manufacturers, this Chevelle, for instance, is made by Welly, and they all go together. They're pretty much the same. There's 4 or 6 screws on the very bottom. Usually there's one in the center or one in each corner here, and then there'll be a couple down the frame rails, and maybe 1 or 2 in the back unless it tucks in. Some other companies, this one here is made by Hot Wheels, I believe. And this is it's set up pretty much the same, but at the same time it's a little bit different because it's a different style car. There aren't as many components, obviously, to the chassis, but it's still got the same mounting screws where it mounts to the body tub itself. So the first thing we're going to start with is you don't want to get them too scratched up any more than they are. So we're going to lay down some paper towels as a cushion underneath. I mean, they're tore up as it is already just from the fire and all that stuff, but it helps a little bit. This is all from insulation from the ceiling and from the walls, soot, and it hides everywhere. This one's actually not too bad compared to some of the ones I've done, where it was behind the seats, under the seats, it was all over the place. And then while you're at it, while you have them apart like this, after you clean them up, you can detail paint a lot of this stuff too. And we pop out the dashboard. And that's usually covered in crap. That's not too bad either. And then you end up with riveted windows and riveted back glass. And we're going to have to drill these out, because if I try to pop them off over these rivet heads, it'll break the glass.
Why don't you just clean them while they're already in there?
Well, I think I will on this one. We'll see how clean they come out. Because usually there's crap stuck between the glass and the body. And then from here it'll go to the wash tub with hot water and liquid dish soap. So here's your body shell and your front and rear valences. Here's an interior bucket, your dash. This particular style of car, that's pretty much all of it. The glass is riveted into the body, and the only way to remove the glass is to drill the rivets out. But on this particular one, I'm going to see how well it cleans up before I decide to do that. But this soot and all this debris and everything, it ends up everywhere. So from here, it'll go into a tub with hot tap water and like some dishwashing detergent. And it'll get scrubbed down with the toothbrush and the paintbrush and everything else that I can get all the nooks and crannies with and get it as cleaned up as best we can. And then we'll go from there. I think I'm going to have to drill those rivets to get the glass out of it too. Because this glass isn't cleaning up real easy. Yep. And this is the most sensitive part, is the windows.
Why?
Because there aren't any extra window parts unless you want to make your own. They're cast pieces. Just like a model kit. So it's not like you can write to the manufacturer and ask him for replacement parts, because they won't exist.